30%. That's the proportion of American billionaires who are Jewish. Not 3%, 30. Jews are 0.2% of the global population, but 30% of American billionaires. The numbers don't make sense until you understand the history. This isn't conspiracy. It's not secret control or manipulation. It's something far more interesting. It's 2,000 years of being forced to adapt, prohibited from owning land, expelled from countries with only what they could carry. It's a culture that values education above everything, and it's a mindset that doesn't just aim to survive, but to govern, to dominate economically wherever they land. This is the entire history of Jewish wealth, from exile in Babylon to the Rothschilds, from Hollywood moguls to Silicon Valley founders. How did a people with no country for 2,000 years become disproportionately wealthy? The answer isn't what you think. Start in 586 BCE. Babylon conquers Jerusalem, destroys the temple, and deports the Jewish elite to Babylon. Everything they owned, land, homes, businesses, is gone. What can't be taken? Skills, knowledge, the ability to read and calculate. In Babylon, Jews can't own land. They're foreigners. So they become scribes, traders, administrators. They work with their minds, not their hands. And when Persia conquers Babylon in 539 BCE and allows Jews to return to Judah, many don't go back. They've built lives in Persia. They're merchants, bankers to the empire, advisors. This becomes the pattern for 2,000 years. Jews live as minorities in empires. They can't rely on land or military power. They rely on skills that are portable. Literacy, numeracy, languages, trade networks. When you're expelled, and Jews were expelled constantly, you can't take land or buildings, but you can take what's in your head. By the time Rome destroys the Second Temple in 70 CE and scatters Jews across the empire, the lesson is embedded. Don't invest in what can be taken. Invest in what can't. Education, skills, relationships. Fast forward to medieval Europe. Jews are banned from owning land in most places, banned from joining guilds, banned from most professions. What's left? Money lending. And here's the irony. The Catholic Church forbids Christians from charging interest to other Christians. It's called usury, and it's a sin. But somebody has to lend money for the economy to function. Kings need loans for wars. Nobles need loans for estates. Merchants need capital. So the church makes an exception. Jews can lend money because they're not Christians. They're pushed into the one profession Christians consider sinful, and Jews become good at it. They have to be. It's often the only option. They develop networks across Europe. A Jewish merchant in Spain can get a letter of credit honored by a Jewish banker in Germany. Trust networks that cross borders. This is proto-banking. But there's a cost. When you're the moneylender, you're resented. When nobles owe you money and don't want to pay, they accuse you of usury, of exploiting Christians. Pogroms happen, massacres, and conveniently, when Jews are killed, the debt records burn with them. England expels all Jews in 1290, France in 1306, Spain in 1492. Each time, Jews flee with nothing but skills and connections, and each time they rebuild in the next country, Venice, Amsterdam. Eventually, they're invited back because rulers realize Jews are economically useful. This constant cycle, settle, prosper, get expelled, resettle, creates incredible adaptability. You can't afford to be rigid when you might lose everything next decade. You learn languages fast. You build networks fast. You find opportunities in new places because you've done it before. 1760s, Frankfurt, Germany. Meyer Amschel Rothschild is a coin dealer who starts doing business with European royalty. He's smart. He sees opportunity. He sends his 5 sons to 5 European capitals. London, Paris, Vienna, Naples, Frankfurt. They establish banks in each city. This is revolutionary. The Rothschilds create a financial network that spans Europe. They finance governments. They fund wars. When Napoleon is fighting across Europe, the Rothschilds are financing both sides and making a fortune. They're not picking sides politically. They're providing capital to whoever pays. By the mid-1800s, the Rothschilds are the wealthiest family in the world. They control more wealth than most nations, and this creates both admiration and hatred. Anti-Semites point to the Rothschilds as proof of Jewish control. The truth is simpler. They built a business model that worked. International banking using family trust networks, and they executed it brilliantly. But they're not the only ones. Jewish banking families emerge across Europe, the Warburgs, the Schiffs. Why? Because banking is one of the few professions fully open to Jews. And Jews have centuries of experience in finance. They're good at it because they've been forced to be good at it. 1880s to 1920s. Mass Jewish immigration to America. Over 2 million Jews leave Eastern Europe fleeing pogroms and poverty. They arrive in New York with nothing. Most don't speak English. They're crammed into tenements on the Lower East Side. But they bring something invaluable, the culture of education. In the shtetls of Poland and Russia, even the poorest families made sure their sons could read Torah. Literacy was near universal. When these immigrants arrive in America, their children go to school. Not some of them, all of them. By the 1920s, Jewish kids are dominating New York City's public schools. City College, free at the time, becomes predominantly Jewish. They study medicine, law, engineering. One generation from poverty to professionals. But there's still discrimination. Ivy League universities impose Jewish quotas. Law firms won't hire Jews. Country clubs ban them. So Jews do what they've always done. They create their own opportunities. Can't get into established law firms? Start your own. Can't join banking institutions? Create new ones. Can't break into traditional industries? Find new industries. We're about to get to Hollywood and modern wealth. But first, real question. Could any group replicate what Jews did? Or is there something unique about this combination of culture and circumstance? Think about it. And subscribe. We're going deeper. Early 1900s. Motion pictures are a new, disreputable industry. Respectable WASPs want nothing to do with it. So Jewish immigrants jump in. Adolf Zukor, Louis B. Mayer, the Warner Brothers, William Fox, Carl Laemmle. They're furriers, glove salesmen, scrap metal dealers, but they see opportunity. They open Nickelodeons, they make films, they build studios, and because there's no establishment to keep them out, they dominate. By the 1930s, Jews run every major Hollywood studio. This isn't conspiracy. It's immigrants finding an industry with low barriers to entry and building it. The same pattern happens in other new industries. Retail. Jews can't get positions in department stores, so they open their own. Lerner, Gimbel, Bloomingdale. Garment industry. Media. Wherever there's a new field or an undervalued opportunity, Jews pour in. Not because of coordination, because individually they're trained to spot opportunities others miss. Fast forward to today. 30% of American billionaires are Jewish. Look at the names. Finance. Goldman Sachs, founded by Marcus Goldman, Michael Bloomberg, Carl Icahn. Retail. Howard Schultz, Starbucks, Ralph Lauren. Tech. Larry Ellison, Oracle, Sergey Brin, Google. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Larry Page, Google, Michael Dell. Why? Same reasons. Education. Jewish families push their kids into top universities. Even middle-class Jewish families will sacrifice everything for their children's education. It's not optional. It's expected. Networks. Jews build tight communities, business connections, mentorship. When a young Jewish entrepreneur needs funding, there are Jewish investors who will give them a shot, not because of some global conspiracy, because of trust networks built over generations. Adaptability. Tech is a new industry like Hollywood was. low barriers to entry if you have skills. Jews, with high education rates and entrepreneurial culture, flood in. And here's the key: risk tolerance. When you've been expelled from countries, when you've rebuilt from nothing multiple times, you're not afraid of risk. Starting a company? Your ancestors survived pogroms. This is nothing. So what are the actual principles driving Jewish wealth? Not secret cabals, real, replicable strategies. Education, above all. Jews invest in their children's minds more than anything else. A Jewish family will live in a small apartment to afford the best schools. Education is the inheritance you can't lose. Network building. Jews prioritize community. Synagogues aren't just religious. They're business networks, social networks, support systems. When you're a minority, your community is your strength. Long-term thinking. Jews think in generations, not quarters. Plant a tree you'll never sit under. Build wealth your grandchildren will inherit. This creates compounding advantages. Entrepreneurship as necessity. When you're blocked from traditional paths, you create new ones. Jews don't wait for permission. They start businesses. They create industries. Because historically, that's been the only option. Adaptability. When circumstances change, Jews change faster. New country? Learn the language in 6 months. New industry? Jump in first. Flexibility is survival. But here's what's deeper. There's a mindset underneath all of this. Jews don't think about surviving. They think about governing. Wherever they are, they aim to dominate economically. Not through force. They have no military. Through excellence. Through becoming indispensable. Look at any major city where Jews have migrated. Within a generation, they're not just present. They're influential. Banking, law, medicine, media. They don't aim to fit in. They aim to lead. And maybe, just maybe, there's something else. God's promise to Abraham in Genesis 12, "I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great. I will bless those who bless you." For 4,000 years, empires have tried to destroy the Jewish people. Babylon, Rome, medieval Europe, Nazi Germany. And for 4,000 years, Jews have not just survived, they've thrived. That's not normal. That's not natural. The nations that blessed Israel, protected Jews, allowed them to contribute, prospered. Spain expelled Jews in 1492 and entered centuries of decline. America welcomed Jews and became the most innovative economy on earth. The nations that cursed Israel, tried to destroy them, fell. Babylon, Rome, Nazi Germany, all gone. Israel remains. Is Jewish wealth a result of culture and adaptation? Yes. Is it also connected to divine promise? That's a question each person has to answer. But the pattern is undeniable. A people who shouldn't exist, who've been scattered for 2,000 years, who've faced constant persecution, are disproportionately successful everywhere they go. That's either the most remarkable cultural achievement in history, or it's providence. Maybe it's both. Here's what I want you to think about. If you applied these principles, education obsession, network building, long-term thinking, adaptability, could you replicate Jewish success? Or is there something unique here? Drop your honest take. And if this changed how you see wealth building, hit that like button. In 2026, Jewish wealth and influence continue. Tech, finance, media, biotech, AI. Wherever the cutting edge is, Jews are overrepresented. Not because of conspiracy, because of culture meeting opportunity, meeting 4,000 years of survival training. And the backlash continues too. Anti-Semitism is rising globally. The same old accusations, control, manipulation, secret agendas. It's the same pattern that's repeated for millennia. Jews succeed, others resent it. Conspiracy theories spread. But here's what the conspiracies miss. Jewish success isn't taking from others, it's creating. The industries Jews dominated, Hollywood, tech, finance, They often built from nothing. They didn't steal wealth, they generated it. And Jewish wealth isn't hoarded. Jews are the most philanthropic group per capita on Earth. Hospitals, universities, research. The names on buildings across America, Weil, Bloomberg, Zuckerberg, represent billions given away. The story of Jewish wealth isn't about greed or control. It's about a people who were forced to become excellent at portable skills because they could lose everything else. It's about culture that values education and community above comfort. It's about entrepreneurship born from exclusion. And it's about a promise made 4,000 years ago that somehow, impossibly, still holds. From exile to billionaires, from Babylon to Silicon Valley. The Jewish people have turned every disadvantage into an advantage, every expulsion into an opportunity, every persecution into motivation to succeed despite it all. That's not conspiracy. That's resilience. And maybe, just maybe, it's something more. The entire history of Jewish wealth in one video. If this made you think differently about success, achievement, or resilience, let me know in the comments. And subscribe. We're covering more histories that explain the present. See you next time.